The Joe Rogan Experience.
We thought if we could do something that could bring back the direwolf, also help wolf conservation and bring people from like sci-fi, fantasy, and kids more into science and into the conversation around conservation, we thought it was a cool idea, but we had no idea if we could pull it off.
Is there dead direwolves that were trapped in permafrost, or is
No, most of the direwolf skulls out there, there's thousands of them in La Brea tar pit. So if you go there, they have this beautiful wall, but because of heat and acidification, there isn't anything that's protected. Like there's nothing you can get from that. But about 6 years ago, a group, including Beth Shapiro, our chief science officer, sequenced a tooth that was found in a cave, just a single tooth, right? And in that tooth, they actually found they actually got 0.15x or coverage of the genome. So they got about 15% of the genome. But that's not really enough. You need to get up to about 10x, meaning that you can read the entire genome about 10 different times so that even if there are gaps, you understand enough of the core kind of coding regions that you could bring back that animal. Or
is this done by AI?
It's done by AI and software, yeah. Mm-hmm. So we built, part of our business model is building technologies to solve these really complicated problems. They're much harder to solve than just solving them for existing species. Open sourcing that for conservation for free, but then also taking those technologies that we can monetize for humans and spinning them out. So our first computational analysis company was called Form Bio, and we actually spun it out of the business.
So you have this tooth. You have 1.5.
Yeah, 0.5, so 15% of the genome.
Okay.
And so I went to Beth, who was only an advisor at the time, and said, could you resample the tooth? And she's like, it's like, half an inch long. She's like, it's destructive sampling. Like, it's going to ruin it. I was like, well, could we scour the other museums and see if it's even possible? So we lucked out, and that tooth's 13,000 years old. The skull itself is 73,000 years old, not exactly sure. But it was found in a riverbed. And it wasn't found in a riverbed at the mouth of a cave. So it wasn't found like in the permafrost, but it also wasn't found in like heat and acidification. So there's a bone in all of us called the petrous bone, which is insanely dense, and it doesn't change a lot from after you're born. It's a great DNA storage, better than teeth, better than anything. It's like in the inner ear kind of head area. And so we got permission from the museum to very carefully drill into the underside of the skull and remove the petrous bone to see if we could get DNA. And we got really lucky between resampling the first and the skull. We ended up getting about 13 to 14x coverage. So that's more than we needed to potentially bring back the direwolves.
And then what'd you do?
Well, and then we got a knock on the door and it was no. So we took that DNA.
Can I ask you before we even start with this?
Yeah.
The aggressive reporters, is it you're playing God? How do you have the right to do this?
So it's been a journey. Okay, so the journey that we've had is when we started the business, we didn't have any scientists. Like, we just didn't, right? They're like, this is tech bros wanting to see cool animals, and they've only got $16 million in funding and they don't have any scientists. Ha ha. So that was phase one.
Right.
And then we're like, as an entrepreneur, my job is to hire much smarter people than me.
Do you smoke cigars?
I do not. Okay. Gary's got me on quite a kick. So
health kick.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
cigars aren't bad for you.
Well, I'm not saying they're bad for you. I'm just saying that
allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't care. This is the last of the things that I partake in that are probably bad for you.
Yeah, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Everyone's got their vices.
I like a little cigar. So my question, if I was going to grill you, if I was a reporter, it'd be like, what right do you have to invade the natural process of nature and to inject your curiosity and your ability to create new life?
I think that we've become the apex predator on this planet, and we inject our curiosity and choices every day that we overfish the ocean, we overhunt something. In the case of the thylacine, the Australian government put a bounty on its head and killed it off, right? And every time we cut down the rainforest, every time we drink hydrogenated water, we are, playing God on some level, right? Humans are very good at changing the natural flow of things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is we'll just get to it. You made a fucking direwolf.
I didn't. Our team, our incredible team, made 3 direwolves so far.
Let's see the photos. Jamie, bust out some photos. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself because this is truly fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's the pup.
Yeah. So this is so that's actually Romulus. We have 2 boys, Romulus and Remus, founders of Rome, and then we have Khaleesi, who's the new girl. So this is Romulus and Remus. So funny story about this. So Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings.
Jamie.
Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings was actually one of our investors, and he has this huge museum in Wellington that he's building for all these movie props. And he's like, I was sitting in Peter's house with he and his partner Fran, and I was like, I showed him the video of them howling. He started tearing up. He goes, "This is the first time I've heard a direwolf, or anyone's heard a direwolf in 10,000 years." He physically, emotionally got chills and started crying. And then he's like, "Well, I do have the throne." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I bought the throne last week at auction, at a private auction from Sotheby's or someone, right?" And so he did, and it just happened to be where the wolves were doing their vet checkup. Like, talk about cosmic coincidence, incredible, right? And so, what you don't see in this photo is you don't see the fact that we have American Humane Society there. We had 3 veterinary people. We had 6 people from our animal care
When you
team.
say checkup, you don't vaccinate these little guys, do you?
They do because of viruses that they can get from the soil. At 8 weeks, they do get basic virus. They do get basic vaccines.
Oh, were you concerned about that? I mean, you have this animal that you're just...
Yeah, so these are staying on, these are not going back into the wild, right?
Right, not yet.
Right now, they're on a 2,000-acre secure, expansive ecological preserve with 24/7 care. We have an animal hospital that we built.
Wow.
People always are like, "You guys raise so much money." And I was like, well, because we didn't just spend it on the labs. You have to spend it on the animal care, the facilities, and whatnot.
Let's see the photo of the actual grown ones because they're fucking nuts.
So this is Romulus and Remus playing in the snow on the preserve when they are 3 months old.
So at 3 months, how big are they?
3 months, they were north of 45 pounds.
Wow.
So...
look at that face. God, they're so beautiful.
Oh, they just get like, as they've aged, they've just got more and more beautiful.
So let's go to the adults because the adults have crazy characteristics that you were saying that you didn't even know they were going to have.
We didn't know, right? And so we ended up getting a...
Is this a full-grown one?
No, they're still 5 months old, so they're 80 pounds at 5 months. So wolves typically grow 12 to 14 months, so they're not full-grown yet.
Wow. And how big is it already?
80 pounds, about 5.5 feet.
In the mane.
Yeah, and so a couple things about the wolves, Jamie, if you go back, so we didn't know this, right? We knew that they were a Pleistocene wolf. We knew that they existed and went extinct about 12,000 years ago, when a lot of megafauna went extinct, like during kind of that younger dryas kind of cooling period. They went extinct as well, right? And we know, because all we have is, we don't have frozen direwolves or frozen samples. We literally just know from skeletal remains that they were 20 to 25% larger. They were stockier. They probably weren't as fast based on kind of their body weight as a normal wolf would be. But we knew that they had thicker skulls, a larger cranium, and whatnot. And we assumed that and we did find this out in the genome, which is pretty cool, that they were white. Because there's like this misconception for a while that they were red because some scientists wanted to make a paper and assume that they were red so they get their paper.
Doesn't it make sense for natural selection? I mean, they're an Arctic hunting animal.
Yeah, and they have this beautiful, we didn't know this, they have this beautiful like mane-like quality to them. And when they're babies, you saw a couple of pictures, their fur almost feels like polar bears. It's crazy.
Wow.
Is it
cool. Like polar bears and it's hollow, or is it not?
It's not. It's like typical wolves, but it's incredibly thick. It grows in kind of these clumps, but then as they've grown in, they've started to get this kind of like mane to them, which is incredible.
The females as well?
Well, the female, she's only 6 weeks old, so it's too soon to tell. So if you keep going through a couple other photos, yeah, I mean they're just beautiful. And it's funny. Someone actually said on our team was like, they almost look like Shetland pony wolves at some point, right?
Right. They're so stocky.
They're stocky. They're thicker. They are. They're absolutely beautiful. So this is Khaleesi, who looks like a baby.
Look at that little face.
And we nailed it. We named her.
Can we hear it? Let me hear.
We named Khaleesi for George R. R. Martin, obviously.
Obviously.
Who's an investor in Colossal.
Oh, wow. Aww. Nature's cute little murderers.
Well, everything in nature murders something, right?
Yeah.
Like we murder.
Well, cows murder grass.
Yeah. And people are now saying you can hear grass and other plants like scream now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they scream.
yeah. So I guess we all are bad. So.
Life eats life. This
Yeah.
is. I mean, that's the reason why plants have chemicals to dissuade us from eating them. What are they eating there?
So they love to chew on horns in this state. So we have different phases of we built a 145-page animal guide. These are actually different horns from different elk and other species that we're putting out there.
And they chew on it like
they just love
like
them.
a dog does.
Like a dog does, right?
So are you letting these animals kill things, or are you feeding them?
So we're feeding them still. So they eat a combination of bison meat, horse meat, and
Do you plan on letting them kill things?
So we're
eventually?
just about to introduce carcasses to them. So giving them part of a carcass, letting them feed, building in that dynamic between the two brothers for now, and then and they are starting to exhibit some hunting behavior.
Are you going to let them hunt?
I mean, they are on a seemingly wild 2,000-acre preserve with just them, so they do have the ability to hunt on that preserve, but they're not doing it yet. They're starting to exhibit the original, the first inklings that it will trend toward that. But we want them to live. We want them, and we're going to probably make 2 or 3 more. We want a solid little social pack that we can monitor, that can live a seemingly wild life, that we can understand more about them.
Wow.
It's cool. But the other thing that's equally cool to it, going back to the Red Wolf story, can you...
Which is crazy to me that you have reignited these 10,000-year-old hunting genes.
Yeah.
That they're starting to
including
exhibit.
size. So we understand more about, like, we looked at what genes made really a direwolf, like what was separated. And the beautiful thing for us is that we had a 13,000-year-old tooth and a 73,000-year-old skull, so we could actually understand the genetic distance. With that much genetic distance between them, we could actually understand what truly was fixed and conserved in the direwolf genome and what wasn't just population genomics, right? If you and I are 50,000 years apart, there's a lot of different mutations in that time period. But if we can then really say, okay, what made Ben and what made Joe Joe, oh, here's the overlaps, it allowed us to really understand that, which is pretty awesome. And
it's just fascinating that the behavior characteristics are kind of baked into those genes,
yeah.
And they just were dormant for 10,000 years, and now these things are waking up.
And so I was in, because I bottle fed Romulus.
Wow.
And Romulus was partly raised with me. I could go out to the preserve. I'd check on him quite frequently. It's in the northern United States where we don't say where it is, but mainly because we're for not just the animal's health, but for human health. Ever since we launched the woolly mouse, we've had very excited people just show up at our labs are not open to the public, and we've had lots of people just show up wanting to see the mice, and so. Showing people too much of the preserve, we're always very, very nervous about. We scrub all the videos and whatnot to ensure that no one can pick it out because we assume people will be moderately excited.
Oh yeah. Oh, the internet sleuths will try to find you.
Yeah. So we've done. I'm not trying to challenge them, but we've done everything we can to protect it.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you have to. Some dude from Saudi Arabia wants a wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody wants a dire wolf.
We get a lot of. We already get a lot of weird calls. But the other,
I bet you
the
do.
other thing though,
someone with deep pockets.
Oh, we get.
Make me a dire wolf, my friend. I have everything
they have
in
everything.
my collection.
We get a lot of weird calls.
Yeah.
Yeah, from people that are like.
Well, there's people that have private zoos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, enormous.
In India.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have that family has like the largest private zoo and preserve.
It's just so wild.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. Well, Texas's history with animals, right?
Yeah.
There's more tigers in captivity in private collections
in Texas than in the wild.
Than in the wild of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I was in the so we of the 2,000 acres, we have a subsection of it that's about 6.5 acres, where we have an animal hospital, a storm rescue shelter. We have a couple of natural dens that we've built for them, as well as an animal husbandry area, so that way when we want to take photos of them or videos of them or do blood tests, they're in a seemingly more contained area. And it's funny, 2 weeks ago, I was up there, and I was actually sitting on those logs in one of those pictures, and Remus came, Romulus, who I spent the most amount of time with. Remus came pretty close, and I was able to touch him again. But I thought at that moment, and then he kind of skittished away. I was like, that's the last time I'm touching Remus. Like, what am I doing? And I mean, don't get me wrong.
What
I
if
had
he
our
decides to
animal.
eat you?
Yeah, I have animal care teams there and everything. And they have been there's some level of habituation between the care team. They really know and love the care team, but they're still wild animals, right?